Do your best. Let's go. Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lions.
Oh my God! Victory Sunday.
The Giants look at their schedule and they go, "Oh, the Detroit Lions," and they put the big W, right?
Correct.
It's folks. It's everybody that is on the screen right now that is what makes this special, because this organization has been so bad for so long. Yet here we all are on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, chopping it up about this football team, because winning 3 in a row and getting this done for the first time since 2017, and like Mark said, having some momentum for this fan base.
When we played against the Patriots one game on Thanksgiving, I had a pretty good game too, and it was just the atmosphere is just different. It's just there's just everybody's ready. You get a chance to wear the throwback uniforms. It was just fun.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think you got to have a good program, but I think the city, the way it's viewed nationally, like the people in Detroit, the business people, the money makers, the marketers, they got to market Detroit different nationally.
And welcome to the Detroit Lions News Show. We have Curtis Steele, the real deal. We also have John Maackaron with All Lions. Detroit Lions Lowdown, Sports Illustrated, baby. What is going on, fellas? Congratulations. We did it. It's been 30 freaking years. Yes. Oh, my God. Do you see these gray hairs here? Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. I'm going to step back here. I'm going to produce and let these fine two podcasters take over. Oh, I'm beside myself. How's it going?
Yeah, it's great, Curtis. Man, good to talk to you over the holidays, man. It's great. The Lions did it. We get a chance to spend a few minutes here breaking it all down. It was a good time, man. It was the best way to describe it is for the Detroit Lions to win in that fashion, with John Kaminsky not falling on the football, making everybody panic. Oof, I was panicked. I was everybody. The blessing of all the holiday parties was everybody that walked in that was a Lions fan. That was the greeting was, what the heck was John Kaminsky thinking? He should have fell on the ball. But luckily the ghosts that have haunted the Lions did not bite them this time. They overcame it. Yeah. It was amazing, Curtis. I know you were just as excited as I was. It was a great victory. First division title in 30 years. First time ever winning the NFC North. The last time it was the Central. And we were just talking before we started just how long ago. 30 years is a long time. So that's why it just took on this great historical perspective. And everybody was talking about really just this feat that they accomplished. How did you take it in? Your excitement level that first and foremost, the Lions, we're talking today, Curtis. We're talking the Lions, the Detroit Lions are number one in the NFC North, man. It's amazing.
I was like you. I was looking at this and I'm like, what is going on with Kaminsky? But I'm like, okay, we gotta get past that. One thing, looking at this 30 years ago, I was a 21-year-old man. I had just met my wife, and we weren't even married yet. I'm like, we've been married almost 30 years, and I'm like, the last time, like, I was a young guy, I love the fact that we never gave up. We never, as a Lions fan, you just kept going. But to see that and to see the way they won that game, I was so happy when Iffy intercepted that ball. I was like, yes, 30 years. I got a Fanatics card for Christmas, and I ordered my T-shirt yesterday, waiting for it to come in for the NFC North Championship. I'm just so happy and elated. The job's not done, but to see that first milestone met, what is that goal of the season? The first thing they wanted to do was win the division. Just thinking back 3 years ago, of the Lions were 3-13-1, and now they're 11-4, and the NFC North champion. It is awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah, and like everybody else, you stay up, you watch the video. The 4-minute Dan Campbell video was unbelievable. to see him, what he said to the team day one, to build your legacy, was just amazing. All the videos, all the celebration that you got to see with the team. Look, all week they were really subdued talking about it. Yeah, they indicated that they wanted to win the division, but they took a business-like approach. And then you saw Isaiah Buggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson dancing. It was just nice to see the Lions celebrate the victory. They earned it. And it's no easy feat to win a division. And I just think that what we can be proud of, everybody, Darcy, you, Curtis, all Lions fans, is so many times we've had expectations for the Lions. And so many times we've been let down. So close. You remember, I think that kind of kicked off the Stafford debate when all they needed to do was win 1 of 3 games. And what happened? Stafford hurts his thumb and they go on to lose the division. And so many letdowns, so many disappointments, so many opportunities that they had. It's been since 2016 since they've been in the playoffs. That long is far too great to be away from the playoffs. And that's the unbelievable feeling, is the expectations were set. They were talked about. Nobody shied away from it. And they went out and they delivered. And that makes everybody happy on Christmas. That makes us sit here and talk on this.
Yeah.
It's exciting that we can sit and talk positively about the Lions. You even messaged me and said, "What's going on with your account, John? It seems like it's so much more festive." Well, it's a football team that's won 11 games.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is.
You have to be positive about this team.
Yeah, my favorite video, actually, it was the short clip with Dan Miller and Sheila Hamp. Sheila Hamp has turned this. She's taken all of the lessons from her parents, and she's turned this organization around. She took a way that she was like, I don't want to run this like my parents did it because it wasn't effective. I'm not going to do the homie hires. I'm going to get somebody in here. I'm going to, we're going to build a committee and we're going to build this team the right way. And I love how she did this. Sheila Hemp is one of the best owners right now in the league. And I'm just excited for the future of the team. This is just the beginning. The 30-year drought is over. So now you can keep building building a sustainable franchise. You look at how many players that we still going to have under contract even after this year that are going to be on rookie deals. Look at the rookies we have that's out there contributing with Laporta and and Gibbs and Branch and even Captain Jack, filling in for Barnes and those guys when they go out and making a start himself, contributing on the field. And the young players that we have that are still under contract, St. Brown still on his rookie deal, and those guys, it's going to become time here shortly to kind of pay these guys, but we still have a few years to kind of, another year that we're going to have where we can, don't have to really worry about the cap, because we still have Jared Goff on the contract for at least another year. I'm excited about the future of this team. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the draft next year, this year coming up. Family vacation that was already planned, but I wanted to be there. But man, to see the excitement around this team, around the city, I'm so elated, man. It is the best time since the 90s to be a Lions fan. I was there I was watching Barry in the Silver Dome. I was a young man, and I was, shout out to my guy Herman Moore over at Lions Nation Unite. He was one of my favorite, receivers back then, because he reminded me he was a faster Harold Carmichael type of guy. You remember that back at the Eagles back in the day, and to have that excitement come again, man. And the Lions can beat you so many ways. I'm so excited about this. I'm not scared of any team in the playoffs right now, because the Lions offense is ridiculous, and getting back a player like CJ Gardner-Johnson, he can fix that communication in the back of in the defensive backfield. because I think that's the biggest issue right now for me is the communication. We're playing good defense, but if you could get somebody who can put people in the right positions, you're gonna have that 3 safety look with Iffy and CJ and Kirby. I'm talking so loud, but I'm just so excited about what's going on with the future of this team, man.
Absolutely. Shout out to the chat. Scott Smith, Big T, Neil, Dwayne, message. Make sure you get your thoughts across. We'll read them. We see them all. Scott gets in. I have been waiting for this since I was born. February 1st, 1958. Holy S! Man, Scott, listen, they paid it off. And I think that's what makes it, even though it was a long wait, it makes it that much more rewarding when you recognize just how difficult the Lions have made it being a fan and a supporter. Look, covering the team was wild. When you first go there, it was always talking about next year and building and moral victories and the draft and things like that. To be able to talk about playoff seeding, looking at what scenarios it will take the Lions to move up to 2 or 1 has been unbelievable. Big T writes, my expectations was 12-5, and Lions made me proud so far. And that's what it's been about. The Lions have really created a lot of memories, and it started in Kansas City with all the fans going. They've become a story. The support that this football team garnered, even in lean years, you had passionate fans that really supported this football team. And you look at it, and to be able to invest in Dan Campbell, and look, he made everybody eat his words from day one. He said, we're going to set the tone, and we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be opportunistic. And if you really go back and watch it, go back and enjoy it. What he said was, we're going to be a resilient group where we're going to face challenges. But the tone that he set is when we face challenges, we're not going to lick our wounds and just go away. We're going to fight back. And Kurt, this year, they have not lost back-to-back games all year. They faced adversity. They overcame bad performances. They were able to win games that they didn't even play good in. And it's just amazing. Scott Smith, 65 years, great show, guys. Kings of the North. Absolutely. The Lions are the kings of the North. And you know what, for me, I'm petty like that. I love seeing all the Viking fans and Packer fans and Bears fans. Man, they are crying those tears, crocodile tears, saying, oh, you guys had to wait for Aaron Rodgers to leave and Kirk Cousins to get hurt. Too bad, so sad. It's the Lions, kings of the North. That's their problem, baby.
Yeah, you hear these guys, these people on Twitter, and I'm like, shut up. I'm like, let us have our, my thing is, let us have our moment. If you're looking at what we're doing, what the Lions are doing right now, I'm like, it doesn't matter, because the years that we were lean and we had people hurt, it was no excuse. They're just the Lions. The Lions just did their thing. And I've had a lot of my friends, I'm former military, they reach out to me, hey, congratulations, Bears fans, Vikings fans, Packers fans, hey man, you guys did it. And then here Aaron Rodgers whining about it. Like, dude, you're not even in the division anymore. Stop talking about it. Why are you talking? You doing this, so you need to be doing this. Because we are the kings of the North. It is so exciting. But it's like I said, it's not over. You look at I love what Dan Campbell said. Like, okay, we now our biggest opponent right now is complacency. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to move on from what we have accomplished so far, because you got to keep moving on. If you want to, be a champion, a continued champion, you have to be able to, win a Super Bowl. Okay, you got the first thing done. Now you have to move on to the next opponent, because the season's not over. And we were talking, and I am not afraid of the Dallas Cowboys. We have their rushing defense is terrible, and our rushing attack is outstanding. You look at peanut butter and jelly and what they're doing this year. We're gonna have, and I have no qualms about saying this, we're gonna have 2 1,000-yard rushers on the same team this year. And that's something that I can't remember the last time the Lions did that. Hell, it took us forever to get just one 1,000-yard rusher. But you look at this team and how it's constructed and how they can attack. You look at the blueprint that Miami and Buffalo gave out the last couple of weeks. The Lions can go into Dallas and ruin Jimmy Johnson's Ring of Honor Day, just like we ruined the Super Bowl ring day, banner day in Kansas City. We can do that. The Lions, and people could. I'm not understanding the disrespect by the way, the big margin of how the Lions are underdogs, 6.5 points by some sports books, because the Cowboys are undefeated at home. The Lions are undefeated in primetime, and this is a primetime game. And they put on the Lions, when the lights have been the brightest, have shown up the best. So I'm looking at this game. I'm like, man, Dallas is, and I think the Lions will go in and beat Dallas. I just think they will. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Lions. But even the last year, it was 24-6. The Lions were competing until that fumble by Jamal Williams down at the goal line. That was a very close game, and that's when the game kind of fell apart. And I just don't see that happening this year. I think you had St. Brown didn't play in that game. J-Mo didn't play in that game. A lot of different. This is a different Lions team than they played last year, and they're gonna go in, and the lights are brightest. They're gonna go in and show what they're made of, and Dan Campbell's gonna have this team ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Dubs gives the Lions respect. Definitely talking about a football team that's resilient and making the city proud with the accomplishments that they've had. Nobody's terrified of Dallas, especially when the playoffs start. You want Dallas in the wild card round, in his opinion. Yeah, absolutely. And Kurt, you're absolutely right. I think that people definitely understand that the Lions play well in prime time Saturday night, this Saturday, 8:15. They're going to go out there and, like I've been talking about all week at All Lions and on social media, the Lions still have stuff to play for. They can technically still be the number 1 seed. They can still fight for it. And they have to kind of get help from the 49ers. They need the 49ers to lose one of their remaining 2 games, and the Lions have to win. You look at it, if the Lions win against Dallas and the Vikings, no matter what happens, they're the number 2 seed. That could mean not only 1, but 2 home playoff games. It's exciting that big goals are ahead of them. We haven't even talked about it yet. Ford Field, finally, a celebration of the Lions is going to take place at Ford Field in mid-January. It's going to be the weekend of the 13th through the 15th. We don't know yet. We're going to talk about it, me and you. The team out there out west that maybe is putting some fear in people's hearts. Stay tuned. Me and Kurt are going to talk about it. We're going to see where he stands in regards to an old friend, maybe terrorizing the fan base. But this week, I think that Dan Campbell set the tone right away. He said no complacency. We got to turn the page. Yeah, we celebrate for a night, celebrate on Christmas. Turn the page, because if you don't play at a high level against Dallas, they'll embarrass you. But the Lions belong, guys. I think that first and foremost, the Lions belong on the field against Dallas. I'm not as optimistic as you are, because we always recognize weird stuff always happens when the Lions go out to Dallas, whether it be weird holding calls, not equality of the officials. You realize last year, one of the first times that we got to see the Lions have to deal with the new concussion rule happened with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who didn't get to finish the game. So weird things tend to happen in Dallas, and I just hope that the Lions can showcase everything that they got. Offensively, I think it's going to be really incumbent upon the Lions to score touchdowns. And you know what? Here's the kind of thing that hasn't really happened too much. Explosive deep plays, 1-play, 2-play drives where you get Jameson Williams and get a quick score. The Lions had, against the Vikings, they were methodical. They went up and down the field and took a lot of time. Definitely was advantageous because they scored a lot of points. But against Dallas, you might need some quick strikes to keep up, because, man, when Dallas gets rolling at home, they're just a different animal. They play exceptionally well. You got obviously the main guy in CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. You realize their rushing attack is stout. You got to make sure you limit the explosive plays early. Dallas has got a lot of weapons, and Dak Prescott is playing well. He's playing at a very high level, especially on third down.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. By no means, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy to go into Dallas and win. I can believe that the Lions can do it. You're going to have to play a clean game. You're going to have to play pretty much mistake-free football, no turnovers, and you're going to have to watch the penalties because Dallas is an opportunistic team, definitely. You're going to have to take care of the ball, no turnovers. Bland will make you pay. He will make Jared Goff pay. He's been making quarterbacks pay all season, with all of the pick sixes that this young guy has. And you look at that, they haven't really, they have missed Diggs some. I can't say that they haven't, but, this guy's came in and stepped up and made it seem where, okay, yeah, it's not as, as bad as it seems, but Dallas is right there. They're on the cusp of winning their division, and they have things to play for. So they're going to be a hungry team coming into Saturday night. But the Lions aren't a pushover. I think that's my biggest thing, and I don't think the Lions are afraid of the Cowboys. My neighbor's a Cowboy fan. All of my family are Cowboys fans, and I would love to stick that in their face if we can come out of the game with a victory on Saturday night. It is one of those things, man, where I think that this is a year of breaking streaks, and I think that the Lions can break the streak of not winning in Dallas. I think this is the year that we can do that. You look at that, the strange things. I just hate when we have to go to Dallas and deal with some of that stuff that we deal with down there. Even the thing with the little kid back in the day, where the kid won the game system. And they saw he had on a Lions jersey, and they started the game over again so the other kid can win. That kid was like 9 years old, and he had on a Stafford jersey because Stafford's his favorite player because he's from the Dallas area. I'm like, what kind of crap is that, man? Like, give the kid the game system. Of course, the Lions paid for him, the little kid, to get a game system because Stafford was his favorite player. But it's just stuff like that. Like you were saying, like, the picked up flags and the Dez Bryant taking off his helmet and being on the field and not getting called. It's always something in Dallas when it comes to the Lions.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look at that. Tommy Craig gets in. Love Kurt Steele. We got a fan of Kurt Steele here in the chat.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man. You got the podcast in here as well. What up? Definitely looking at the Dallas game. We owe Dallas anyway from that playoff loss when Sue was on the team. What up, Doe fellas? It's good. Message. We love checking in every time and seeing what you guys think. Dwayne gets in. We don't need to be afraid of no team at all because of what we want to win and have to, plus I can't understand what that is exactly. When you look at the Lions, I'm very impressed with the way in which week by week the Detroit Lions have been able to kind of rebound from big victories and difficult challenges that they faced when they've had ups and downs. And you now go up against a Dallas team that's got momentum. They're going to be motivated. Look, I looked at it as whether they win or lose, it's an opportunity. It's a measuring stick. I want to see how this Lions team handles adversity, handles success, because once you have an opportunity to be able to go out there and play the best teams, once the Lions potentially win one playoff game, that doesn't end the season. You got to go out there and do it again. If you're not getting the number one seed, you got to go out there and win 3 games potentially before the biggest game of your life. So this Dallas game, I think, is a perfect opportunity right now at this point in the schedule. It's a perfect opportunity to see what they're about, because Dallas is a solid football team that's always had success against the Lions. But Kurt, how concerned are you about the one guy, the game changer on the Cowboys, number 11, Micah Parsons? He's going to be looking to embarrass the Lions. Over 10 sacks, I believe. I think he's a player that can really disrupt a lot of things. A big challenge for Taylor Decker and for Penei Sewell. They'll be up for it. But Micah Parsons is a rare breed of really speed, tenaciousness, size, definitely agile, can do what he's got to do, lined up all over the place. He can wreak havoc on the Lions. And that's the number one thing that disrupts Jared Goff is some pressure and having to deal with a guy like Micah Parsons. Going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see that matchup.
Yeah, you run the ball at that guy. That's one thing. Teams have proven like you run the ball at him. Not saying that he can't, he's not a sure tackler, but he's a better pass rusher than he is a run stuffer. Parsons he's a game wrecker. And I think that, like you said, Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell will be up to the challenge. Our offensive line, if we get in there and we have them all healthy, it's going to be, he's going to have trouble because you just can't run it into our backfield. You look at Danielle Hunter, didn't have a great game against the Lions because of the offensive line. If that offensive line is intact, we can kind of curb Parsons a little bit. It's funny that he hates the Lions, but he calls himself a Lion. I don't get that. He was an Italy Lion. Oh, what up, Raw Podcasting? So I forgot to say that. Yeah, I just think that if you game plan it right, I think you can neutralize Micah Parsons because he's one of the best in the league at rushing the passer, and you're gonna definitely have the game plan for him. But I think that Ben Johnson and I think, and I've said this before, and I don't know if you guys have heard me say this. I think the most pivotal or vital coach that Dan Campbell kept when he took over as the head coach was the offensive line coach, Hank Fraley. He has this offensive line. You look at all the combinations that we've had all year, but when the offensive line, the starters are intact, we're undefeated.
Absolutely. Checking in with the chat. Barry gets in. Bills expose them by running the ball. Definitely the Raw Podcast. It's tough to win in Dallas, but we can beat them. We have a good team. We need to put pressure on Dak with Iffy blitzing again. And it brings up a great point for the week in regards to the Lions. Man, what a find in Ifeatu Melifonwu at safety. And this is another reason that like Kurt said earlier in the show, the Lions are not a flash in the pan. What the Lions are doing is the way you sustain success, which is draft and develop. Look, Ifeatu Melifonwu 3 years in, battled some injuries. They don't give up on him. They obviously have him play cornerback, then now move him to safety. And oh my goodness, you see the speed that he comes in against the run, the pressure that he can get against opposing quarterbacks, the speed that he's got. He makes the game-winning interception. I'm curious, when you look at it, because here's the thing. Obviously now, Aaron Glenn has got to be really happy. His guy, CD Deuce, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Deuce, whatever you want to call him, he's okay with. You look at this talented player. He comes back now. It gives you options. And many in the chat, many of the people around Allen Park, it's the debate. What do you do with CD Deuce when he comes back? Do you move Iffy to the cornerback spot and kind of see if you can upgrade there? Because the Vikings did pick on Vildor and Khalil Dorsey a little bit. You need a little bit of an upgrade opposite of Cam Sutton. I wrote about it at All Lions, exploring options. For those in the know a little bit that watch film, dime packages allow you to have 6 defensive backs out there with 1 linebacker. So in clear passing situations, Aaron Glenn probably is going to deploy a lot more defensive backs. You realize that he's got options. What we talk about, there's no clear one thing where, okay, if CD's out there, that eliminates Iffy or Kirby. But I think that when CD comes back, you ease him in the first game, maybe against Dallas. You see what Ifeatu Melifonwu can do. And then as CD gets more acclimated against the Vikings and in the postseason, if CD's activated, he's got to be the guy. I mean, he's the most talented, I think, defensive back that the Lions have. But it does not mean his role is done. I think that maybe the guy that sees a little bit less snaps is Kirby Joseph, but not significantly, because Kirby is always around the football. So the Lions have a lot of great options. What do you think about if he maybe moving to corner for a spell to see what he's got? Because you can maybe do that against the Vikings to see how he acclimates.
Yeah, you can look at that. I definitely see it's the spoiler riches right now. You look at Aaron Glenn, he's finally got, so that back into that secondary, you have options. I can see definitely having CJ play that Viper role, that small linebacker, big safety type role where he plays along that the line of scrimmage, or plays in that linebacker role when you have those packages where dime packages, or you coming in with the what do you call that, this big nickel, you know what I'm saying, looking at that package, because you have this, because what are you going to do? You don't want to take, I don't want to take Iffy off the field completely, and I don't want to take Kirby off the field, out of the rotation, and then you're talking about Brian Branch. I'm like, gee, I mean, you're gonna have some options to play players. I think maybe I'd agree with you. Maybe you slide Iffy out there just to kind of see because if he can switch roles back. But I like him at safety. I like his size. I like his speed. I like his tenacious just effort at safety. And it's just fit this team where you got him healthy. And, you look at last year where he played some safety as well. It just hadn't got acclimated yet, and he still wasn't healthy. I was at the Christmas game last year, and look at the team last year compared to this year at Christmas, how they performed, both on the road. And I watched Iffy, and I watched him struggle a little bit. I watched our corner struggle down here in Carolina. So, but I think that you cannot keep CJ Gardner-Johnson off the field. I agree. He is our most talented defensive back. And we're going to get some nastiness back on the side of our defense when he comes back. He's aggressive. He's a talker. And I like what he brings to the defense as far as the mentality of what the defense is. He won't be bringing back the masks. He said, I think they're cursed, but he's an aggressive player, and he's going to bring a nasty mentality back to the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been interesting. The Lions' success has kept most of the beat writers and those covering the team from talking about the draft. But clearly, the Raw podcast knows one of the clear needs is a number one significant contributor, a true number one cornerback. And he says, I want to draft 6'3" Kyrie Jackson from Oregon. Dude is nice. Or Nate Wiggins from Clemson. Or Cam Hart from Notre Dame. And clearly, the two areas of need that Brad Holmes is going to target is the interior of the defensive line, another opposite edge rusher, potentially for Aiden Hutchinson, and cornerback. Those are the clear needs right away that in 2024, if you look ahead, don't get nervous, but you're going to play a first place schedule. Now that you're a division winner, you got to play all the ones. You're not playing all the twos and threes. You're going up mano a mano against the best of the best in the division matchups. You got the number ones, baby. And that'll be for a future talk. And I hope me and you get to have that and look at all the future. But I look at it, the future is bright when you look at the Lions. The draft and develop model, you said it, Kurt, in regards to all the contributions you're getting from Jahmyr Gibbs, from the rookies, from Jack Campbell. I know he's still developing at linebacker, but you see flashes of what he can become with the experience that he got. Brian Branch making plays. Obviously, dropped that ball that upset everybody, but comes back and gets the next opportunity. So you realize, obviously, Sam Laporta is blowing everybody away with what he's been able to do his first year. Yeah. So it's just a situation in which the expectation is this football team is going to develop and continue to add weapons. And when the time comes, I think Brad Holmes will be aggressive and pull the trigger on a very impactful move and sacrifice a couple picks because his confidence is there that he can look in later rounds and get people.
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
I just think getting the people that he's going to need is not going to be a situation in which you guys got to worry. He's going to stock this Lions team. God, can you imagine, Kurt, one more draft and one more free agency to this roster, and you get rid of some guys that potentially aren't as productive as you think they can be? The Lions are only going to upgrade. They don't shy away from competition. And Marcus Willis gets into, they're going to target offensive line. Of course, they're going to look at a guard and making a move on the offensive line in the draft. But I just think that when you look at it, defense probably is our biggest concern right now heading into Dallas and the postseason.
Yeah, it is. Dallas is our defense is the number one priority. You look at it. How can we? Because we built the championship offense. Now it's time to build that championship defense. And you look at it. We have pieces there, but it's just not exactly where I think that they want it to be long term. I said this a few times in the past. I said when Campbell and Brad Holmes came in, they were kind of stuck with their salary cap, and they were getting what they want instead of who they wanted. So they were getting the type of player they wanted, but not exactly who they wanted. But now they're getting who they want, and I think that's going to be, like you said, I think it's going to be a big, either a trade or a free agent signing coming up soon when they can keep adding to this roster. I love what Brad Holmes is doing. He, in my opinion, has to be the executive of the year. And I keep hearing and I don't understand why people are saying this. Well, Dan Campbell shouldn't be the coach of the year because they were expected to win the division. I'm like, this still doesn't make it. It would have to be so. Yeah, it's not easy. He should be. I think he'd be a candidate for coach of the year. I think that maybe D'Amico Ryans down there in Houston is probably going to get it if they make the postseason. It's going to be D'Amico Ryans because of that young roster. But I love what's going on in Detroit right now. And we were talking earlier. And to get all of this contributions from such a young roster, where they're not afraid to play these young roster. I was looking at, and you said this earlier about we're not looking at the draft right now. And at this time last year, last year, I'm looking all draft. I'm looking at what's going on with the Lions uniforms, or something, is always some kind of other topic, and we're not looking at the playoffs. But now the success of the team, we have to put that other stuff on the back burner for now, because we still are going to have content with the team currently playing. They're going to be playing in the postseason. I love what's going on with this roster, with the team. One thing I will say is that the coaching staff is one that develops talent. And as much as you can talk about the maybe the shortcomings of Aaron Glenn, he's made adjustments. You know what I'm saying? I know he doesn't like that word, but he made them, because he started blitzing off the edge. He started adjusting how his defense was attacking, because the front four wasn't getting there. So they had to create pressure. But you're gonna have to make some adjustments, because if you do that in the postseason, some of these teams are gonna light you up just because you're leaving your secondary kind of thin out there playing man coverage. So you're gonna have to kind of fix that. You're gonna have to get some of those big bodies up there. You're gonna have to get some help for Aiden Hutchinson, but help is on the way. James Houston is getting healthy. Aleem McNeil should be coming back soon. So we have players. I know the Lions are being careful with Bruce Irving and the amount of times that they want to elevate him before they have to sign him to the active roster. Somebody's going to have to go off the active roster to bring him on. So people go, why didn't they activate Bruce Irving last week? Well, they only could do it one more time before he's done. I think he's done 3 times. This would be his 3rd time already. So you're going to have to do it one more time. And I'm not sure what's the roster for the for the postseason, but they're smart with their moves.
Yep.
They're calculated. So it's not just what they do doing on the field. What they're doing off the field matters as well. And I think they're handling the management of this roster very well.
Yeah. So before we talk about our final topic about facing an opponent in the postseason, who maybe we want, people want to know, obviously. I talked about draft and develop, right? But the chat, they want to go shopping. Everybody loves shopping. Everybody loves to go out there and get the big name guy, whether it be a Jonathan Allen from the Commanders, Josh Allen, I think from the Jaguars, is a sick option opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Do you think this is the year, the offseason, in which Brad Holmes makes a splash? I don't see it. I'm not convinced that that's the spot, because you look at the big splash that they made, it was for $11 million a season for Cam Sutton. Is he going to go out there and drop $20 million per season on an edge? I don't see it happening, because why would you do that when you can get a young, talented defensive lineman on a rookie deal? So, and you realize you still got to pay Aiden. You love Aiden. It seems clear that the market for edge rushers, it's almost impossible to have two 20 million edge rushers. So I think that the splash may be more for offense this year in the free agency. But would you do it? Would you bring in the Jaguars top guy and make a splash and give him a boatload of money?
I don't see it happening either. I think that they're going to keep building through the draft, keep building and developing, and they'll get a splash, that big splash defensive end coming in the draft. I just believe that they're going to focus on the defense this year, especially in the draft. I don't see why people don't think that Brad Holmes drafts defense, because he does. I mean, you look at two of the first four picks were defensive guys, linebacker and a defensive back. The interior, you know what I'm saying? You look at it, he drafted Aleem McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike. I mean, you look at it, he does it. He may not do it when you want him to do it, but I think this may be the year where you might get a first round defensive guy, especially because of the fact that he's going to be down the draft board when we pick in the first round. So I can see it happening. But I don't see us, because you're going to have maybe he may move up in the second round to get either the defensive tackle or edge rusher.
Yeah, absolutely. Mile Marker gets in. He saw that AG was relaxed today. Isn't it great to see AG smiling like he was today at the media showing? Seemed more open to being relaxed in public. Yeah, winning the division makes everybody so much happier. If you heard, Mile, I kind of asked him a little bit, tried to get a little bit of insight regarding the safety rotation. And I also asked him about potential head coaching opportunities. And I know he was impressed to be asked that question. So it's good to see the team obviously look ahead. And obviously when you had that many pressures, 4 interceptions, the defensive coordinator is going to be very, very happy. But you turn the page just that quick. Do it against Dallas. Get 2 or 3 against Dallas, and it's a playoff team. And people will start to give you respect, because against the best opponents, the Lions have kind of been bend and break in their defense, as opposed to making all the plays. Get the turnovers, get the sacks, play well defensively against Dallas, and you'll get a lot more respect from the likes of the chat and everybody. All right, we got to talk about it. Are you scared crapless about Matthew Stafford potentially coming to Ford Field round 1 of the playoffs? Me? Heck no. I am putting it out there. Bring on Matthew Stafford, please. I want round 1 to be the Detroit Lions against the Los Angeles Rams. It would be spectacular. It would be we could get a lot of closure on the Matthew Stafford debate. People are so scared of Matthew Stafford. Look, I think he reminds me of Russell Wilson, not in terms of his arm strength or anything like that. He's not that mobile. You can get pressure on him. You can devise a scheme to get to him. He'll throw interceptions to the defense. He'll give turnovers. He'll make the critical mistake. I will get so many answers because I was not a Stafford guy. I was the guy that said, this guy's never going to win in Detroit. And everybody was like, oh, he can pretend. They started changing their debates. And they said, oh, if you surround him with so much talent, he's going to do this and that. They never did. But at the same time, he never raised his level to the point where you thought that it was going to be believable that they would win. He always threw the key interception. And for whatever reason, obviously a change of scenery just worked out for him. The Rams-Lions connection, so many stories. Brad Holmes coming from the Rams, the Jared Goff trade, going up against the coach that shipped him off to Big Bad Detroit to waste away only to rise up again. So many good stories, and I think it would be an amazing, amazing game. Rams got Nakua, who's coming along. You obviously got to worry about Cooper Kupp, Stafford, who knows everything about, obviously, Ford Field. They're playing well. They're on a streak. But I think the Lions defense can do a lot of things. And I think that when you look at the Rams defense, they're not world beaters. They can get got. And I think that the Lions should not be scared of anybody. I mean, maybe Seattle, because they have your number. I know Lions fans want the easiest path. They don't want to face the Seahawks because for whatever reason, obviously, Pete Carroll just knows to dial up what he needs to against the Lions. I want to see the Rams all day. So many stories. Best chance to win. I would love it. I think the fans would obviously gravitate and be invested in seeing Matthew Stafford, but I think the Lions would get a nice opportunity to advance if they played the Rams.
Yeah, I'm not scared of the Rams. Not scared of the Rams at all. I love Matthew Stafford. That was my guy. I was a Stafford guy. I got so many 9 jerseys. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to get rid of some of my closet. However, when he left, he left. Did I root for him in the Super Bowl? Yeah, because I wanted to see the guy succeed. However, my quarterback's Jared Goff. He wears number 16. He does the number 9 in Detroit is Jameson Williams. So if you look at what Detroit can do, Detroit can definitely attack the Rams defense. They have so many multiple weapons that they can attack. With the run game and the pass game and Laporta and St. Brown and Jameson Williams and you look at it, Reynolds and I love all the storylines because look at all the Rams connections on the Lions with Reynolds and Goff and Holmes and Agnew, all those connections on the Lions, and I just think it gives Jared Goff that he can give them the proverbial middle finger and come in and he can go ahead and get that victory against the Rams. I think because their defense is upset. They're young and they're talented, but they're successful. They make mistakes. They like I said, they're not world beaters. And I think that putting as much pressure on Stafford as you can, he will definitely throw you a pick or two because he trusts his arm sometimes too. He trusts his arms too much sometimes. He wants to make those tight window throws, and then sometimes that gets him in trouble. I like the way the Rams are playing. They have a good rushing attack. I think it's it'll be a lot of strength on strength with the Rams play the Lions in Detroit. But I think the Detroit home crowd will be buzzing, and I think it's going to be great. And think about this: we haven't even talked about how when the Lions play the Vikings on the last game of the season, what that's going to be like, because it's going to be the first time that the Lions are the NFC North champions will be in Ford Field. It is going to be bananas on week 18. I don't care who is playing it. That crowd is going to be hyped up, and I don't think the Lions are going to particularly sit anybody because I think they want to keep playing for the highest seed that they can.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of the 1 seed either. I think that people are debating, should they avoid the 1 seed because of the bye week? Look, any opportunity that you could have to play as many games at Ford Field as possible, the Lions, I think, will take advantage of rest because you want all your guys back. CD Deuce, James Houston, having guys come back. Aleem McNeil would benefit this team amazingly. Enjoyed spending a little time with the real deal, Kurt Steele, having an opportunity to look at everything going on. We'll do this again for sure. But no fear. Darcy doesn't have no fear. Kurt never has fear. it's good news for the Lions. And what we're all hopeful for is when the Lions play well, Dan Campbell will get this group playing well. When they play to their capability, they can play with anybody. Doesn't mean they can win, but they can compete. I don't expect them over the next month to lay a dud or to get blown out in any capacity. I see them competing hard with Jared Goff. The offensive line is healthier. I think this football team is meeting the expectation of their coach, playing well in December, and it's going to bode well whether you have one playoff game or two. I think the biggest goal, I think, now is win the playoff game, shed that crazy moniker of one playoff win since 91. Get that playoff win, and let's see how the Lions potentially stack up on the road against Philly. That would bring things full circle to go on the road and to shut up Philly fan. I would love to see that. If it happens, if you know they're going to win, I'd love to see it in Philly. All those tears, the anger, the manner in which you could go punch them in the mouth. I think it would be great because also too, you remember that ominous Lomas guarantee that happened way back in the day. You wrap that up, you end it, and then you go to San Francisco. Oh man, I'm putting out dream scenarios. But Kurt, I enjoyed the time.
Yeah, definitely, Doc. Appreciate it.
Definitely.
You guys did a wonderful job. Listen, programming note: we have John Maackaron on coming next week. We also have Matt Derry and Jim Brandstatter after the Michigan Wolverines beat those Alabama Crimson Tide. Stay tuned next Wednesday. Hopefully, Kurt, will you come back on with Jim?
I will try to make plans to do that.
You talk to your wife.
Yeah.
Every time you message me, I got to talk to my wife. So we're going to thank you guys. This is awesome. Congratulations on the division. It's been a long time coming. Love you guys. Let's go, baby. It's hard to produce and do this thing at the same time, but here we go.
Fast, let's go. Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3.